Hello guys, welcome to my new video. My name is Katrin and I am a front-end developer living in Germany. I do vlogs and on my another channel, tech stuff. While I am imagining that I am a rich person in Portugal, in this video I decided to concentrate on my balcony garden. Those of you who were with me from the very beginning, you saw that I started balcony garden 2 years ago. I stopped showing it a lot on this channel, but now I think it's time to show you what I'm growing right now, to give you a tour and also to share with you what eventually I think about it. Because I think when you go on YouTube, you kind of see that everyone has this already flourishing garden, container garden, and that they kind of say that they stopped buying things from the supermarket, that they always harvest something, but it's not real. You understand that all struggles, all challenges are behind the scenes, and also that it's kind of unreal to provide yourself with food by growing, for example, things only in a small space. But still, I want to share with you also what I think about it, if you should start a balcony garden, as a person who already went through the beginning process, to share with you what I really stopped buying from the supermarket and under what conditions, because not everything is so simple. So let's start with the tour. So let's start with the tour. I have a lot of flowers right now, you can see, but they are all coming from the previous year because it was very hard to start from seed and it took time till it became such a beautiful blooming plant. So yeah, eventually you can imagine that gardening, it's always a lot of patience. So what else I have? I have here paprika and peppers, which are my favorite plants because they are very easy to grow, but it always takes a long time for them to start from seed. So also have here pumpkin, and it's also usually very hard to start to grow. Previous year I had only one small pumpkin, but I decided to give it a try this year again. Here I have Swiss chard, and I never buy this thing in the supermarket. It's huge, you can see, and it's great for salads. I have here the second one. Here I have cauliflower that is already pretty big, and a small broccoli here and here. It's just for fun, to be honest, because it doesn't grow very big, but still it's nice to kind of see that you've grown it by yourself. Here I have the most of the sun, that's why it's taken for my tomatoes, and later my fiance is going to add here cucumbers. Here I have zucchini. I have only one because I understood that it's not my plant and it's very hard to grow it in this climate. I also added this, I decided to go more vertical, and I added those pots with radishes, salad, carrots and beets. Carrots and beets, they also don't grow very well, that's why I don't have a lot of them, and it usually takes a lot of time for them to produce something. For example, I have some more there, but it's more than a year already there, and also some more beets. Here I had spinach and a lot of rucola. It's already in its last phase, I would say. It is a great time to grow spinach and rucola in March and early April because it's still cold and it likes colder weather. It just flourishes in the garden. Here I have also a lot of big parsley and cilantro. I also don't have problems with it right now, and I don't buy it in the supermarket anymore. This one actually was going to be a herb bucket, and here you can see there are many things. Lavender, rosemary. By the way, there are some herbs that I can't grow from seed. Rosemary, thyme and sage. For example, this sage I did grow from... No, you are not sage. This sage I did grow from seed, but I also buy a ready plant from the supermarket, and they then put them into the soil, and then it grows. Here, for example, I also have mint for some tea, and melissa, chives, which is also pretty easy to grow from seed. This year I decided to try something new, and I also started growing potatoes. You can see that they are grown already here too, which I was very surprised about. I didn't think it's going to work, but we'll see. I am pretty sure that it's also going to take time. One more thing, I really love salads, and one more thing that I never buy in the supermarket is kale. Here you can see that I already cut a lot of leaves. What else? I also have some dill there, but the problem with dill is that it is flourishing during cold weather, but when it's summer comes, then it kind of dies. I also have celery here, and it's also great for smoothies and salads, and it is going to be in your garden for a very long time. And yeah, here I also had some more spinach. Here is the sage from the supermarket, and some peas. They don't grow really well in this climate too, but yeah, I'm just going to take what it already has to harvest, and that's it. Here, to be honest, I thought that I was going to have also another herb bucket, but eventually I put some flowers here and it became a flower bucket. And yeah, a few more things that I wanted to show you. Those are cucumbers that my fiance is growing right now. Here, I don't know who this small guy is. I think it's chili pepper. One more thing that I really love lately, it's sprouts. It's easy to grow, and it's so great on the sandwiches and in salads, and it has many healthy stuff inside. So yeah, that's also something that I'm a huge fan of right now. So now let's chat and grab yourself a drink, spend with me some more time. I hope you like my balcony garden. First thing that I would love to share with you, if I recommended someone else to start a container or balcony garden, definitely yes. Even with all struggles and challenges that I had, also money spent on containers, you kind of learn, and I think the most important part is to learn and understand what conditions you have. So for example, in my case, I understood what climate my area has and when to grow what. To be honest, my balcony garden is working now all year long. I do not close the season before winter. There are still things growing even during the winter. I think that's the point, when you learn, for example, what season is best for what you can grow in what. You also learn about your space. So for example, on my balcony, I don't have a lot of sun, and that's why usually the areas that has the most of the sun, I usually give it to my tomatoes. But also I learned that hanging pots, for example, they also have more sun, and usually I try to go vertical now, especially for greeny leaves and radishes and things like that. So there is definitely a phase where you learn a lot, where you experiment a lot, where you fail a lot, because I don't know, I tried to grow dill, for example, 100 times, honestly, and it always failed. I tried to grow it on the window bank, on the inside, outside, and it always failed till I understood that I need to grow it outside. It is possible from the seed, but not everything succeeds. I should start from the end of February, the beginning of March, because it loves cold weather. So eventually I succeeded, but there were like many failures. And if you're thinking about getting into it as a new hobby, I also definitely recommend to do it, because that's very interesting. You learn a lot in the very beginning. I watch a lot of YouTube, I read a lot about also companion planting, what plants are good with each other and so on, how to start. And to be honest, you don't have to go very fancy, and when people start you need to buy this and that and so on. Just don't do it, really. You can grow in a very cheap plastic containers. You just need good soil, seeds, water, and I do add some fertilizer. So it's very interesting, and I think it's also good for your mental health. For example, also now when I work from home a lot, I go outside just to check on my plants, to water them, just to take a break, and sometimes I also work outside. It's definitely a huge plus for your mental health. So what I stopped buying from the supermarket, everything that is connected to green leaves, and you can make salads with it. For example, rucola salads, radishes, cilantro and parsley. I also have coriander, celery, like celery leaves, Swiss chard. I never buy kale, chives. So those are things that I don't buy in the supermarket anymore. But here is the thing. I don't have a huge family. For example, my fiance, he rarely eats salads. So that's only for me. So that's why the amount of leaves or things that I usually add to salad is not so big. That's why it's enough to, for example, during the summer, when everything grows very, very fast, to have 1 or 2 times per week a huge green salad. So that's the point. If, of course, you have a big family, I don't think that it would be enough. Another thing that I still buy, for example, but I do grow them, it's like chili peppers and tomatoes. Even though I have them in my garden, usually it's just for some period of time, and it's still, the amount of it is not enough to what we need, for example, for our cooking demands. So, for example, cherry tomatoes we add everywhere. We add to salads, we add to food, we add to, we do, I don't know, sandwiches for breakfast and so on. And for example, I use some of them from my garden, but for the rest we buy them in the supermarket. And the same with chili peppers. For example, when we have many chili peppers in my garden, I just say we need to adapt our menus for a few weeks and, for example, go more Mexican. We then try to prepare food that contains chili peppers, eat it for some time, but then it goes away because you need to wait till you have new ones. Sometimes you just adapt according to your balcony garden and according to the season. For example, the same with spinach. It's usually hard to start, but when the season is right, for example, it's also usually the end of February, start of March, and it's kind of starts to give you a lot of leaves, and you start harvesting a lot. And during this period, for example, you stop buying spinach from the supermarket or rucola. But again, if you need, for example, spinach in summer, when the weather is hot and it doesn't really grow anymore, then of course you're going to need it from the supermarket. Another thing, herbs, as I mentioned, I usually buy them once, like rosemary, thyme, sage, and put them into the ground, and then they grow. Basil also, because it's very hard for me to start from seed. And I also don't think that here in this area I have enough time for that, because it takes so long for them to start from seed, and then it's already cold. It's much easier to buy a ready plant. But yeah, for example, basil I buy once, then it grows for the whole summer. I also freeze a big amount of it for winter, and then we just use it till I buy a new one next year. And the point is to find your plants, because, for example, as I mentioned, I definitely love tomatoes and peppers. They grow very easily, but for example, I can't really grow zucchini or eggplant or pumpkin, because I don't know, they just don't grow. They are small, and I don't think I have enough sun for them, and it's kind of cold also. So eventually I just put only one plant into the ground just for fun, but not expecting too much of it, you know. So that's also important. Just if you want to have some fun and to experiment and just to have this wonderful feeling when you understand that you grew your own food, then I definitely recommend you to try gardening. And start small, start like with some few seeds, few plants on your window bank, and then go bigger, or just go big from the very beginning if you want to. because why not? And then like experiment and understand what works for you, and then focus only on that. That's, for example, more like what I did. So let me know in the comments what you think about gardening, if you tried already or if you want to try it. Yeah, thank you for spending some time with me. Have a great day and see you in the next one.